Thanks for listening to the Film Florida podcast. If you have a minute, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Thanks, and we appreciate your support. Welcome to the Film Florida podcast. My name is John Lux, and I'm the Executive Director of Film Florida. Today, our guest is Brittany Collins. Brittany is a talent agent for Lock Talent, which is a full-service talent agency representing artists throughout the Southeast. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today, Brittany.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
So I like to start each one of our interviews with a bit of an origin story. So tell us how you got your start in the industry.
So we can take it on back to my college days. I went to Florida State University, and I graduated with a hospitality degree. I actually worked within the hospitality industry for 8 years. I was a corporate event and meeting planner. Through that, I learned a lot about entertainment and contract negotiations, and of course, business in general, which have carried well over into this industry. A couple years ago, I had the opportunity to mentor with another agent in town who is going to be retiring, and I decided to take a leap for it. So from there, I started learning about the industry, learning about the talent and how everything ticks in our world. So we opened Lock Talent officially August of 2017, and I have not come up for air since. So
what about being a talent agent kind of attracted you and pulled you to it?
I was looking for something that was rewarding and challenging, and I think that the industry as a whole is just so interesting. These actors, I actually had the opportunity to sit in on a class locally, and I saw how hard these actors work for their craft. It's amazing. I mean, they spend hours studying. They go to class and they spend hours at class. It's their passion and it's their world, and to be a part of that and kind of, this sounds, super cliche, but help their dreams come true was very appealing for me and rewarding.
So let's talk about some terminology for those that aren't deeply involved in the talent part of the business. What is the difference between a talent agency and a casting director?
A talent agent actually represents the actors. So I am essentially the middleman between an actor and a casting director. The agents negotiate contracts, they schedule talent for auditions, and they truly manage the actors, versus the casting directors are more on the client side and production side. So casting directors, they do just that. They manage the castings, auditions, callbacks, and they work directly with the end clients to book talent that they need for their specific roles. Essentially, the agent has a relationship with the actors and casting directors, and then the casting directors have the relationship with the agents and the clients.
What does somebody need to do before they get an agent? I mean, I know a lot of people say, I just need an agent. I got to go find an agent. Well, what do they need to do in order to be prepared to get an agent?
That's a really great question. And, I hear that all the time. I just need an agent. I'll see a submission and it comes through. It says, I've done everything. I just need an agent. So, what is that everything? I think the first thing, especially if you're just getting into the industry, is to get enrolled in a class or a workshop, see what it's all about, see if it's something you even enjoy doing. People don't realize the commitment it takes to be an actor. So getting involved in that way really helps show if their dedication is there and if that's truly something they're going to want to stick with. On that same note, learning about the industry and the business. This is an incredibly fast-paced industry, as you know, and if you can't keep up, you just won't be very successful. So using those tools out there, finding a mentor, again, just getting really involved and understanding the business and continuing to learn on that. I do not know the answer to every question, and nobody else out there does. So continuing to learn is just really big. And then creating your toolkit. This is kind of the physical things that you need in order to submit to an agency. So you need to get professional headshots, and I emphasize on professional. You're going to want to create a resume. And, some people say, well, I haven't done anything. How do I create a resume? Well, you have taken the classes or the workshops, so you'll put that on there. I highly suggest auditioning for student films. Here in Orlando, we have both UCF and Full Sail. Those are great film programs, and they put together some really great films. So those are things that you can put on your resume. And then the last thing they'll want to do is, if they do have professional footage, putting together a reel would kind of put them at the top of the pool, I guess you would say, in being selected by an agent to move forward with representation.
And when someone is looking for a talent agent, what should they be looking for? And vice versa, when you're in your shoes, what are you looking for when you receive a submission?
I'm looking for a complete toolkit. Do they have the professional headshots? And when I'll expand a bit on that too, when I say professional, we can tell if a talent has had their photos taken by their mom, their sister. The headshots that casting directors are looking for are very specific, and so having that professional set is very important. And that also kind of tells me, hey, do they know about the industry? How much teaching am I going to be doing? It just really helps me kind of grasp where they are. And then, of course, having the resume and the reel, like I said, are all bonuses. And then as far as, I guess, characteristics that I'm looking for someone who's willing to learn. Again, they don't know the answer to every question, but they're willing to ask. And someone who takes a collaborative approach to the business. We don't work for each other, we work with each other. So having someone that knows that and understands that is really important for our working relationship. And then I would say the last thing, and kind of above talent, above anything else, is someone that is working really hard and is dedicated to their craft. One of my favorite sayings is, I can't work harder than you do. So when I see a talent and I know that they're working really hard and they're keeping me updated and things like that, those are the people that I want part of my team. And then moving on to, what talent should look for in an agent, which is also very important. They should absolutely look for someone who is organized and, someone who is going to fight for them. When I say that, I mean, going back to the casting director side, there's only so much time in a day. So they give certain slots to the agents. And if I'm only given one slot, but I have 3 people on my roster who fit that criteria, then it's very likely that I'm going to go back and say, hey, can I have 2 more slots, please, for this person and this person? They're really great for this role. So someone who's really going to be on their side, I think ultimately is the biggest thing. We also negotiate renewal rates. They'll definitely want someone who's going to negotiate well for them, and an agent, who reviews contracts with them, answers questions, are essentially, like I said, truly on the side of the actors and making sure that everything that they do is in the best interest for their career.
So every company, or in your case, talent agency, has their core competency or niche. What would you consider Locke Talent's strong suit?
We are a group of professional actors. We really have a roster that is full of talent who are dedicated to their craft, and this is their passion. It's not necessarily a hobby, it's what they do. Somebody asks them what they are, what do you do for a living? I'm an actor. So again, someone who is just truly passionate about it. A lot of our actors, and I would say most of our actors, are training for film and TV. The two, film and TV and versus commercial, are very different. So I would say we're very much focused on the career side long term. And then the agency as a whole prides itself on teaching and mentoring the talent as well, helping select final headshots, their resumes, making sure those are in the proper format, answering questions about auditions, what wardrobe should I wear to this one, or scheduling conflicts and things like that. So I would definitely say that we are a teaching agency and a boutique agency as well. I have about 100 talent on my roster. So being able to manage and truly help each of them navigate through this industry is something that I take time to do.
So I'm fascinated by the process on the talent side. And honestly, I think it's a very undervalued part of the process. So explain the process from how someone gets to being represented to start to being cast in something. What are some of the steps that are in that middle that most people don't even realize that happen before they see somebody on the monitor on the television?
It all starts with, like you said, representation. So after they've submitted to the agency, we officially represent them. The job of the agent is to submit them to different projects, have them audition or tape for a project. I use the word project in place of commercials, film, television. It's just a good, broad terminology to use. They will submit tapes for a project, like I said, attend an audition. They will typically be asked to a callback. In the callback, the casting director, the director, the client, there could be a number of people there, help tweak and work with them to see if they can get what they're looking for a particular role. Once a production company or a production director decides who they're looking for, they will ask the talent to hold the dates that they are looking to shoot, and they'll take usually a day or two to decide who exactly is the best fit for the role. So the agents will get an email from casting saying, hey, please book these people. These are the date. Production will be in touch with them. So from there, again, I'm the middleman, and I say, hey, production will be reaching out to you regarding their wardrobe. They will reach out to you regarding fitting date, what time you need to be there, call times. They'll send call sheets, all of that stuff. So it's quite the number of steps to get there. And any actor will tell you they will go on a lot of auditions before they finally book something. It's a numbers game. It's a matter of who is the best fit for this role. There's a lot of decision makers who have stake, I guess you can call it, in who they are having be a part of their project. And so, then they're on the big screen.
You talked about how actors go on a lot of auditions. I think those that aren't deep in the industry don't realize, and I use the term even though I don't like it, how much rejection there is for actors because they go on so many auditions. And like you said, it's just a numbers game. So there's only so many parts. So they don't get a lot of them. And how do you, I'm assuming a lot of your job is helping keep spirits up and helping keep enthusiasm going, because it's very natural that an actor could get discouraged because they are going to not get more parts than they get, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's huge. I do have to go back to my cheerleader days when I have actors reaching out to me, dang, I didn't get this, I really thought I got that. But then on the flip side, you also have the ones that said, there was no way I was booking this. How did I book this? So I do really have to focus on the positive. I guess I can use a recent example. I submitted probably 50 tapes for something that is being cast here, and I got 9 callbacks, and that was really exciting. Everyone's really excited for their callbacks, right? Well, then I ended up booking 5 of those roles, which is amazing. Those numbers are incredible, and that does not happen very often. But then I had, one of the talent that didn't book it send something like, hey, I can't believe I didn't book this, whatever. And I said, look, you were one of 9 out of 50 tapes that I had sent in. That's really good. You should be really proud of that. So, you know, I always try to focus on the positive of things. And I know if I'm working on a project and as an agency we don't book, I know that's a big bummer for me. So, you know, having that support for the talent is huge. You know, I care just as much as they do about it. So I think that's really important.
And Brittany, the industry worldwide continues to change, and of course Florida is no different. How have changes in the industry over the last couple of years impacted your work?
Everyone knows that Florida has seen a lot less film and television simply because we just don't have the film incentives that we used to. However, we do still have some really fun projects that come through. We have a lot of fun things that come through Miami. We've recently, you know, we've been filming David Makes Man. So those kinds of things, it actually makes those just more exciting, I guess. So whenever we have an opportunity for something like that, it's huge. You know, it's not just another day. The commercials, that side of it has continued to grow, I would say. I think the weather has a lot to do with that. Everybody else is sitting in a polar vortex right now, and it's beautiful outside. So my guess is that clients will continue to come here. January through, I'd say, April, May is commercial season. So the weather obviously stands on our side for that. So I definitely see that continuing.
And in your time as a talent agent, do you have favorite projects that you've worked on that just for whatever reason just kind of clicked with you that you just really enjoyed?
Yeah, I always turn back to, you know, what is it that I really enjoy about my job? And I think calling the talent and saying, hey, you booked this is amazing. I love that feeling. When I get that email, I get so excited to call them. And by the way, I work mainly email. So when they get a phone call from me, they know it's going to be good news. So this past season we were working on David Makes Man, and I had a lot of talent audition, like we talked about, and I've had several books. So being part of that project, you know, whenever you're watching something on TV and you say, oh, that's my hometown, it's really going to be exciting to see it all come through, seeing the final product, knowing that, you know, we were a part of that. Everybody was a part of that. I think that that's been the most exciting for me.
So that'll do it for this episode of the Film Florida podcast. Thanks to Brittany Collins for joining us, and thank you for listening. To learn more about Lock Talent, visit locktalent.com. That's locktalent.com. And of course, for more information about Film Florida, go to filmflorida.org or visit our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast.